So class, this is the fourth installment in complex form video construction. So at this point, you guys have created a lot of the back side of the form, and we're now working on the double stack cube that will become our staircase in the drawing. So at the moment, you guys should have a larger cube at the bottom with a smaller cube on top. Things that could help you before you move on is make sure this cube takes up half of the space. Okay, so on this edge right here, make sure that you're hitting approximately halfway, and that will make the construction of the staircase much easier. Working within symmetrical and even proportions and perspective always makes your life easier because it creates shortcuts. And I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm going to go over here to Photoshop to show you how to set your staircase up before you start drawing. So the problem is actually easier than you think. It looks like the most complicated portion, but it really is quite easy. The first thing you want to do is actually just break up your forms. Find your midway points on all of your structures. So right here, if you have already placed your top cube in approximately a halfway point, then you can drop that edge. And you have now severed the bottom cube into two cubes that are approximately even. From here, you can find the halfway point of the front cube and the halfway point of the back cube. Once you find these, you can drop your verticals. Another way to do this, right, there's always many ways, is bisecting the bottom cube. This would be a great way to test how well you're doing. So if you bisect this, you'll get the next vertical. And then if you bisect the next V, you'll get the next vertical. And if you bisect this V, you'll get the next vertical. That could be a way of checking your math. I actually think I've messed up on the third tile a little. So by checking my math, I might actually move over a line. So now the side panel has been broken up into two cubes that have been halved. Always put your vertices. So let's do that really quick. So right here, I'll make it a little bigger. Here is a vertices at the halfway point. Here, here, and then the back. So from this point, you will be able to connect to the back side of the staircase. Now it does simply move to the left vanishing point, but there's a shortcut. If you come to this edge, the top side of the bottom cube, and you find the halfway point on this line, which is approximately right there, you should be able to connect lines between the front and the back, and then check yourself by going back to the vanishing point, okay? So if you've done well, you should be able to move from the front vertices to the back all the way to your back left vanishing point. But if you've done things correctly, you can just connect them and it will be correct. Same here, in the front edge, we find the halfway point in the front, and then we find the front edge middle here. And if you connect the two, they should continue back to the vanishing point. And you can check your math by taking it all the way back. This edge should already be described because it's the edge where the top cube sits. And basically with this diagram, we can then basically just break up and erase. So we can go back to the video. And we're going to go ahead and let this play. And what I'm going to do here is I'm basically doing what I just said. I'm finding the halfway point on my cubes. And you basically have a bunch of stacked beams they're essentially the same size. Once you have your stacked beams, all I do is erase. So I erase this beam and it leaves a space, essentially creating a step. If I erase this beam, you create a step. as well as below. I'm going to erase these beams here, and you will be left with an ascending staircase. Now the last bit that we have to create is the staircase on top. So in order to do that, all we have to do is raise up our walls and create the final beam that sits on the back side here. So if I, let's go ahead and create that final one. If I go to the midway point and I raise a vertical, remember your front edge will always be taller than your back. So a smart thing to do is to simply start taller in the front and a little shorter in the back. In order to find where they meet, you do have to meet your left side vanishing point. So my vanishing point is right here. So I am going to go from here approximately to here. Yep, that's about it. I nailed it. And then we'll do that again for the top. Okay, and you can decide how tall your staircase is. So that would be there. I'm going to bring it a little lower actually. Okay, and there is the top. Okay, so what we can do so that you can see this is clean up your space a little. All I'm going to do is get in there and get rid of some of the extra work so that you can see it a little better. Okay, we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. Remember, these are scaffolding lines that you can just get rid of once they've done their job. I am not erasing these completely so that you guys do see that I am totally fine with you leaving these ghost lines behind. It makes it really easy for me to see when you've gone off track, okay? I can pinpoint exactly when things went wrong when you do that. Okay. So now we have here the front face of the staircase. So you can, before you move on, go ahead and slightly erase inside that front step so that you can see your work better. Okay, so from here, get it dark, we will move back to the right vanishing point. Okay, so we go back somewhere like that. I'm going to raise it up just a little. Okay. And I'm aiming for the right vanishing point. Okay. Raise up your vertical and see where it intersects the back beam, and then move to the left vanishing point. And there you go. We've constructed the top beam, giving you a 4-step move or staircase. So let's get rid of this. And then all I do is essentially shade and then erase what I no longer need.